What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I was eating dinner, and earlier I was watching the fights from this weekend, rewatching them. An excellent weekend of boxing. Boxing has been fun and very entertaining for me recently. Next week we got Mayweather versus Guerrero, a stacked undercard. I'm anxious to see how Gabriel Rosado, J. Leon Love, how that fight turns out. Obviously the main event, and Daniel Ponce de Leon versus Abner Mars. Anxious to see how Abner Mars looks at a new weight class and against a big puncher in a new weight class. But with watching the last week's fights over again for the second viewing, um, it led me to today's topic, which is the 140-pound tournament that Golden Boy is showcasing. And the reason I want to talk about that is two of the people that fought on Saturday are supposed to be in this tournament. That's Amir Khan and Danny Swift Garcia. So I've said this time and time again. Again, if you're con sensitive or you're not realistic or you have favorites in the sport to the point where you like the fighter despite their flaws, despite anything they do, then nothing they can do is bad. You're not going to be realistic and objective and admit when a fighter looks good and doesn't look good. Then you might as well shut the video off because I'm not going to tell you anything that you want to hear. And you can take it however you want. This is my channel, and I'm just going to act accordingly. And I always shoot the viewers straight and give my honest opinion. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. We're all human. We all have flaws. We all have weaknesses. Anybody can be beat. And this is how I see it. I'm not saying I'm always right, but this is how I see it. So if you're tuning into my channel, then that's what you're going to get from me. So Amir Khan, he is going to have, I think he's going to have extreme trouble in that 140-pound tournament. Luckily, he only has to fight one more time because he's fasting for Ramadan, they said. So he's not going to be able to fight again. And the other guys are going to have to fight more times than him. I just don't see him winning that tournament. As a fighter, you have to base the fighter's last couple of performances and factor that in all the factors with those fights. You have to factor that in terms of where they're at. Amir Khan with Virgil Hunter, and this is not a knock on Virgil Hunter, but I've said this in on my post-fight video, Julio Diaz versus Khan, and I'll say it again. Amir Khan, his new style, his newfound style with Virgil Hunter, the one that requires him to be more cautious and sensible. I understand exactly why Virgil Hunter would want to do that, but again, it's a catch-22 because the more cautious Khan is, the less effective I think he is. Um, Virgil Hunter is trying to make him more of a conscious type of fighter instead of getting hurt and noticeably being hurt and skipping around the ring and not knowing how to stay composed and relaxed. So he's trying to make him into more of a kind of like Floyd Mayweather. He took a big shot from Shane Mosley in round two, and how did he recover? He went on to win every single round. So I think Virgil Hunter's trying to get him on more of that type of page where he could weather the storm. Danny Garcia did it also. Zab Judah started hurting him early, or excuse me, late in the fight, in the second half of the fight, and he weathered the storm. He didn't get too frustrated. He never went down, and it was a hell of a fight. Amir Khan, he's a different character, I guess you could say, and I just see him having. I don't see him beating Danny Garcia, Lucas Matisse, and Lamont Peterson. I think maybe the closest he'll have to beat is Lamont Peterson, and that's because they've already fought, so he's experienced the style before. And Lamont's the least hard hitting puncher. Not saying he doesn't have anything on his shots, but in comparison to Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse, he doesn't hit as hard comparatively, and even that's a stretch because I think Lamont Peterson dealing with this whole scandal. I think he's going to come in real focused, knowing that there was a controversy in the first fight, and again he was dealing with Khan pre Virgil Hunter. So pre Virgil Hunter Khan was the more reckless kind. So he was able to at times in the beginning of the fight overwhelm Lamont Peterson with flurries and punches and stuff like that. But as you can see in the Diaz fight, Khan was a lot more reserved. He showed a lot more restraint, and the reason that I think it's so bad for Khan, some of you guys think I hate Khan. It really has nothing to do with Khan hating him. I don't know him personally, so it has nothing to do with that. But I ultimately think he fights too amateurish. he does a lot of ambush style like flurries, like where he throws a large volume of punches and gets out. Um, the only thing that's wrong with that is he doesn't have the strongest chin, and he leaves his chin up, and he's susceptible to a strong counter puncher, and that's why Danny Garcia caught him. I can't really say for Bradis Prescott because that happened so fast. Maybe he just underestimated or wasn't expecting that early. But as far as Danny Garcia was being bested, or he was getting beat to the punch, and that was while he was trying to figure out Khan's speed and time his speed. But as soon as he did, it was bad news for Khan. But again, this is nothing personal against Khan. I don't hate the man. He's very entertaining to watch because it's like a Rocky movie. When you watch the Rocky movies, name one Rocky movie where Rocky had his big fight, um, and he came out unscathed. It was just like where he dominated, like Mayweather versus Marquez or something. There's never been a Rocky movie. That's part of the drama that we like Rocky movies, because at the end of the Rocky movie, whether he's victorious or not, you know that he's going to get lumped up. He's going to have cuts and bruises and black eyes and all kinds of stuff. And that's what makes Amir Khan exciting to me to watch, because he's always on a tightrope. Every fight since he's been more at the elite level, in recent years, every fight is that tightrope where a sudden gust of wind might knock him off. Um, you don't know what to expect. It's that roller coaster ride. We know how he's fought in the past. We know he's trying new things, and it's always going to be that kind of Rocky-esque type of fight where even his best wins, a lot of them he took punishment in, or like his close fights. Lamont Peterson, if you want to say he won that fight, either way, he still took punishment, and Lamont Peterson showed he didn't really have much of an inside game. He beat Maidana, but he went through hell to beat Maidana. He beat Diaz just recently, but it didn't come easy. He went through hell. He got knocked down, and he got hurt a couple times throughout the fight. So that's what makes it interesting to me for Khan, um, is that he does have heart. And it is kind of like a Rocky movie. You don't really know what to expect. So I respect him in that degree. But when you're talking about just elite fighters and people putting him in the same breath or conversation as a Mayweather fight, I just don't see it. And people are very fickle in the sport of boxing, where they'll say Robert Guerrero doesn't deserve a Mayweather shot, yet they want to see Amir Khan versus Mayweather. Why? I don't understand. At the very least, Robert Guerrero has fought at 147. Amir Khan has not, even though he's rated number 2 at 147. Amir Khan has a speed advantage over Robert Guerrero. Yeah, I'll give him that. But at the same time, Robert Guerrero has a chin advantage. He shows time and time again that he could take a shot. He took monster shots from Berto and never got dropped. So, I mean, the dude got a chin. So, I don't understand how some of your minds work, where you're eager to see a Mayweather versus Khan. I'll watch it, but I don't want to see that, because I don't think Amir Khan stands much of a chance. Floyd Mayweather is one of the kings of adjustments, and that's just my opinion. And I don't even see him getting out of 140-pound division unscathed. I think whoever wins with Lamont Peterson, Lucas Matisse, that's a tough fight for him. Danny Garcia, if he fights him again, that's a very tough fight for him. People, even after the Diaz performance, people are saying that Khan destroys Garcia in a rematch. Good luck with that. Anything's possible in the sport of boxing, so I never typically count someone out completely, unless it's like Mike Dallas versus Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner versus Gavin Reese. I told you guys those in my prediction that I don't really see much of a chance, but obviously the playing field's a lot even, a lot closer with the Danny Garcia and Amir Khan, because there are things that Khan does right. He has speed, he has a reach and height advantage over a lot of people in his division, so there are some things that he has advantage, but when it comes down to it, when you go skill for skill or strength for strength, a weakness for weakness, I see him having weaknesses that'll cost him the fight. Danny Garcia, another thing in the Zab Judah, he proved that he has a chin. So I don't know what Khan would be able to do other than just hopefully he busts him up by his flurries and then just cuts him real bad and maybe gets a TKO. But I don't really see Khan having the power to knock Danny Garcia out personally. And if you guys dispute that, look at Khan's record. Khan, out of all the fights he has, and this is not to take in, this is facts. I'm not just bashing Khan. This is factual information. So Be mad at me if you want. Hit the dislike button. I really don't give a fuck. But realistically, Khan has like one or two KOs on his whole resume. And there's a difference between a KO and a TKO. And it's funny because some people like say Mayweather has no power, but look at the KO ratios, like of actual KOs. I'm not talking about TKOs. Amir Khan has like one or two, and one of them was to Zab Judah, and Zab Judah was not knocked out cold. He went down from a body shot, and it looked like he was arguing with the ref and kind of like counted himself out, but he was back on his feet and everything. So I don't think that. I think that's more of a TKO, even though it's classified as a KO. And then the other one, if he even has a second one, maybe Carlos Molina. I don't remember if that was a TKO or a KO. So for the people that are saying that he's going to KO Danny Garcia, I just don't see it. Like I said, Danny Garcia's been in there with Kendall Holtz. Zab Judah gave him some hellacious shots, and he never even went down. I really don't see Khan having the power um, to put him down, like knock him out. So you mean to tell me out of all the fights Khan's had, he's going to actually KO Danny Garcia to the point where he knocks him out cold? I just don't see it. His record hasn't even suggested that. So that's just my personal opinion. Amir Khan, again, he's an exciting fighter. He's an entertaining fighter. But if he's having trouble dealing with people's power at 140, I don't really see him mixing it up with Maidana in a rematch at 147. Maidana's had a few fights in at 147, and he has a new trainer from when Khan fought him, which is Robert Garcia, and Robert Garcia has made some incremental changes to Maidana's game plan. I see that being a bad look for Khan in a rematch, 147. Everything stacked against him. I just don't see him really being able to clean out the 147 or even come close to cleaning out the 147-pound division. I don't even know if he'll make it out of 140, to be honest. I think he might actually become more or less a gatekeeper, somebody who can sell tickets and who's entertaining, but they're a far cry from who they once were. Like, they're just more or less like, if you look at Jose Luis Castillo, he became kind of like that, where guys that, if Castillo fought them in their prime, he would have smashed them, but just based on age and losing confidence and stuff over the years, he's just kind of somebody that they feed to these other fighters. And there's a lot of fighters like that. Jesus Soto Caras, he showed a lot of potential at one point, but now he's more or less somebody who's just a name, someone who's tough, that's a game competitor, but he's usually the underdog going into his fights. I can almost honestly picture Andre Berto becoming that too. And I'm just being real. This is just my honest opinion. There's a couple of people like that. I can see them just more or less as the years go on, just being more or less gatekeepers in the sport of boxing. And Amir Khan, again, his newfound style with Virgil Hunter, it just has so many drawbacks because I think he relies on his speed and flurries, and that's how he's fought the whole time. So doing something that's completely 180, which is something he's being forced, not forced by like rape force, like rape sloth force, but he's being taught or instructed to do something that's completely foreign to him. It's like if you know how to drive a car and you're an excellent driver, and all of a sudden you've never picked up or you never drove a stick, it's going to be a difference. You're not going to necessarily pick it up. If you're a fast learner, you might be able to pick it up a little bit sooner, but it's a different ball game driving automatic versus driving a stick shift. So there's adjustments, and you're probably going to have to teach yourself. Or I liken it to if you're a cigarette smoker. Say you're 30 years old and you picked up your first cigarette when you're 14 and you smoked a pack a day, a couple packs a week, whatever. And from 14 to age 30, you smoke cigarettes. You're a chain smoker. And then age 30, you say, you know what? This is not healthy. I got a family. I'm putting the cigarettes down. You can try that, but a lot of people can't cold turkey it because it's something they know. Anytime they get stressed out or problems at work, arguments with their girlfriend, boyfriend, they resort back to smoke. Man, I just need to smoke. I need to smoke. I had people that I used to work with, and it would be like hypothermic conditions outside, really cold, and they were still taking their breaks outside to smoke a cigarette. So it's not something you could just give up. And same thing with Amir Khan. I don't think he's going to be able to just give up, especially when he's hurt. who he naturally is or naturally wants to be as a fighter. Even with Virgil Hunter being an excellent trainer, someone who's trained people like Andre Ward and been with him for quite some time, I just think it's going to be a tall order because naturally, I think human nature is to resort back to what you know, given those situations. Actually, there was a glimpse of it. I meant to write down the round number, but in this Amir Khan versus Diaz fight, he got hurt and he was visibly hurt, and he did something that I noticed that he's done in previous fights where he was hurt, and that's where he gets hurt. It's pretty much known that he's hurt, and he uses his glove or his hand, and he signals like come on, like he has that come here motion that he does with his glove, like come on, like bring it to me. I think he did it in the Danny Garcia fight, and I think he even did it in the Maidana fight, or maybe even the Peterson fight. He might have done it in all fights, but I noticed he did it in that Diaz fight. I apologize for not writing down the round number, but he definitely did it. He did it for a quick second, not as long as he normally does it. He might have just been like, oh yeah, that's not smart, let me not do that. But again, those are habits. Those are habits that he's established. In his heart, he wants to keep fighting. He wants to slug it out and have a war with these people. So when he gets hurt, his natural instinct as a fighter, which is commendable, but it's not smart. It's commendable that he wants to engage, like, yeah, oh, fuck that. I got to get him back. He knocked me down. He got me hurt. And I want to win some of the judges back over or win the round. So let me signal him to come on. Like, realistically, you should be holding fuck that come on shit when you're actually getting tagged or when you're hurt. You don't want them to come on. You want to buy yourself some time to get your legs back under you. And realistically, that's what separates somebody who's more or less elite or smarter in the ring than someone who's just thriving off of heart and determination. You have to be smart about it when you're hurt. Floyd Mayweather was rocked against Shane Mosley, and watch how he reacts. And then he got his legs up under him, and then he came back to take over the fight. And that's what you're supposed to do. Zab Judah actually did an excellent job to me of getting hurt in the Danny Garcia fight and really composing himself. He got his legs back up under him. He fell. He looked very composed. And that's shocking for Zab Judah. I'd never in a million years thought he would be the person who's kind of making those adjustments when they're hurt. If you watch the Costa Zoo fight, he was doing the stanky leg, or like it was like he got up too quick or something. So it was good to see that from Zab. And like I said, why would you signal for someone to come here after they're rocking you and they're hurting you with shots? Another person that was annoying doing stupid shit like that, when Andre Berto was fighting Robert Guerrero, and he was doing the Philly shell, or he thought he was Broner or Mayweather or whatever, and Robert Guerrero was tagging him. He was landing some bombs, like landing some cool shots. This is like maybe round one, and Andre Berto's trying to act like Floyd Mayweather and shake his head, do that no face, like like it didn't hurt me, it didn't hurt me. But as he was doing it, Robert Guerrero was throwing bombs. Like, you fucking idiot! You're trying to do this Philly shell and try to save face and act like these shots aren't hurting you or you're not affected by it. And as you're posturing and gesturing, Robert Guerrero's hitting you with them go shots and tagging you. Like, fighters, they trip me out with that. Like, it's cool to be macho, but you have to know when to be macho and when to be smart. And I'd rather be, I'm far from a coward, but I'd rather be smart temporarily and hold if I have to and turn the fight back around in my favor than, oh, I went out there with all my heart and I was swinging for the fences when I was hurt and I had no legs up under me, and now I got knocked out in front of my peers, my team, and millions of people online. Like, you got to figure, like, pick your battle and figure what side of the fence you want to be on. You want to hold for a quick second to compose yourself, or do you want to just go for the glory even though you're not in a position, you have no upper hand, and then just get knocked out? like I don't understand that. So there's times where you need to take a knee. Timothy Bradley was very smart when he did that against Ruslan in the 12th. Take a knee. Take a knee. He almost didn't want to, and that was almost his undoing because Ruslan was trying to take his head off in the 12th. But take that knee. Like, sometimes you got to get your breath, do an 8 count. Josecito Lopez, another fighter against Canelo, he was taking a good amount of time. He wasn't like knocked out, but he was taking some time to get back, get his feet back, or instead of trying to get right back up and go at it, take that little bit of extra time. So that's it. I made this video longer than expected. What do you guys think? hate, dislike it, don't care. Subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Until next video, it's Ego signing off.